We all know long tube headers make power, and we also know turbos make power. Can we combine the two? In this video, we've got full results of running an S475 Turbo on our 5.7 Junkyard Hemi. We also have the buildup using long tube headers as our tailgate turbo system. In addition to that, we also cover the install and full dyno testing because we ran this thing at a variety of different boost levels. So there's a lot to cover. But here's what I want to know. This video is fairly long. Do you like this long format? Let me know in the comments. Would you like to see a shorter version? Let me know in the comments. Would you like to see both? Please let me know. I'll do both so you guys can choose. There's a lot to cover, so let's get going. Hey guys, we got a 5.7 Hemi from the Junkyard. Right now it's got a comp cam in it, a stage 2 HRT cam. We're gonna run headers on it, but the most important thing is we took it to a local muffler shop and had those guys whip up our tailgate turbo. That's right, we're gonna run the headers into tubes, come forward into a Y pipe, and install a turbo. So let's get this motor on the dyno and install that turbo kit. Okay, we've got the motor up on the dyno. Now I'm going to tighten the intake manifold down, but we've got to remove the fuel injectors because the factory injectors are like 30 pounds an hour, which is good if you only want to make less than 500 horsepower. But since we're going to put a turbo on it, we've got to remove the fuel rail, swap the injectors out. We're going to put some 80-pound like Deca injectors in. That will allow us to run a little boost, at least on this thing. Bring the power up past that 500 horsepower level. Let's get that swapped. I like this Magnum intake though. Used on the 5.7 Hemi cars and not the trucks. The truck manifold's not bad, but it's just not good looking. Really none of these plastic ones are in my opinion. That's why a lot of guys buy the aluminum versions that are sold by various people at aPprocharger. And even the SRT8 6.1, much better looking manifold, especially if you polish it or powder coat or something, but yeah, we got these 4 bolts off. Grab a little pry bar here. Come up on the intake. I like the Dodge uses these like self-tapping screws. You see how to get one of these things out. It's just really foolish. Every one of these things should have a threaded boss in it, but they really don't. Check this out. Is there any reason to use a screw like that? I don't think so. I'm going to tell you what sucks more than anything. You go to your stash of injectors, find your bag of injectors. You dump them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 injectors for your V8. Oh my God, that sucks. That's like going and finding push rods and you find 15 push rods. Where the hell's that other push rod? Where's this other injector? Now I got to spend hours and hours and hours looking around for that one missing injector. But lucky for me, I've got another set which I'm going to steal off of one of my 6-liter LS motors. Okay, I've located 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 injectors, always good. And as you can see, if you take a look, they're not the same height. But don't worry, we'll make it fit. What we'll do is we'll install these injectors and the Hemi fuel rail, and we'll just space it up a little bit with spacers. Bolts, washers, whatever we got, we'll make it work. Okay, we're gonna put the fuel rail back on. I'll show what the spacers look like because we had to space it up for the injectors. Then we have to worry about the map sensor. You see the factory Hemi map sensor, 6.1, 5.7, 6.4. They all are 1-bar map sensors. We gotta configure it for a 2-bar map sensor, and they don't have a 2-bar map sensor for the Hemi. So we're gonna have to jumper some of the wires and make a new adapter to put in a universal 2-bar sensor. I'll show you what happens. Okay, as you can see, we got this gap here. Simple. Nut, put that in, line it up, use our factory bolt. Going in over here. Factory retaining. That baby lined up. Snug her down. We're going to finish up with some more wiring and then start on the exhaust. Our coil's hooked up. Let's move around to the other side. Okay, since we've got a 1-bar Hemi map sensor, we've got to convert it over to this 2-bar. So I had to make a little weather pack. That baby clip in there. Okay, let's go get it installed. Okay, it's time to install the headers on our Hemi. We've got an exhaust gasket. Luckily for us, the headers we have are slotted, so they'll allow us put this up there first, and then slide the header in place, and then bolt up one of the top bolts, and that'll hold it in place. You'll see what I mean here in just a second. So we got all these started. Grab our header. See the slots down here? Okay, here we go. Get that in place. Now all we got to do, put the rest of the bolts in. Now all we're going to do is tighten them up. The header's on. So in order turbo kit. Okay, this is it. You guys can probably see. Custom stuff. Custom turbo kit, fresh from the muffler shop. What we did was take a wide pipe that we made previously. We used it for a bunch of stuff. We used it for a big block, we used it for a small block Ford. It's got provision for 2 wastegates, single turbo, it's a V-band. We use a V-band to a T4 or T6 adapter. We're going to adapt this to those headers using these. Let's get them installed. Here's something you want to make sure. Took this to the muffler shop, had them welded up. But you got to make sure that these inner edges don't have a bunch of junk on them. So I'm going to file this off a little bit and blow it out before we put it on the turbo kit, because the last thing you do is want that stuff going into your turbo. Okay, after we file it, we gotta blow it out. Sometimes it gets lonely at the dyno. Nobody here to talk to, just me. And I already know what I'm gonna say. Get this baby installed. Got our clamp up here, and we're ready to go. Got our little helper over there. Number 2. Up the tube. we'll leave it loose a little bit just so we can orient it, because actually it's going to go more like this. More filing for the other side. Okay, there's a perfect example. Look at that. Big old curly Q. You want that going through your turbo? I don't think so. Okay, time to blow it out. Get our bazooka ready, primed. Time to install. Okay, time for side 2. We've got both of our custom pipes on. Now we got to connect them with our Y pipe. Now the Y pipe is something we use a lot because we've already run it on a bunch of stuff. We use a common Y pipe because it's already configured with a pair of Wastegates which work real well. They're both Turbo Smart Wastegates, and it's got a provision for the turbo. We can mount basically any kind of turbo we want on it. We'll show you that later. But right now we got to connect these to our Y pipe, which is this right here. We're going to start with one side at a time and then work to the other side. Loosen our V-band clamp. We're heading to the gun ready. So we'll get this over here. This is much easier with 2 people, or 3 people, or 4, or 8. Okay, how many ever you can talk into it with beer or pizza or whatever you gotta do. So make sure it'll swing, and then loosen up just a little bit. There we go. Swing this baby into position. Slam that baby down. Check this out. I'm going to take you a walk over here. Get out of the way. We've got a support right here. See, under that pipe? This is where the heavy turbo is going to be, so it's going to make that exhaust sag because there's nothing supporting it, you know, from all the way back here. Normally we'd run a brace from here over to the head or something just to keep that up, but we've got this support under there that should help us. We got our Y pipe on. Let's install Wastegates and a turbo. Okay, with our Y pipe in place, it's all snug down. Now we got to control the boost. We're doing that with 2 of these Gen 5 Turbo Smart Wastegates. So we got to pop this baby on. We've already got one of them on. Make sure that that's in place. Get it together. Get our clamp on. That nut started. We're heading down to Milwaukee. Now, with this clamp, because it's round, we can rotate this, orient it any way we want, get the exhaust away from the inlet, obviously. Sometimes we also run pipes from these, go back to the back where the exhaust is taken out. Got these babies on. Now let's install the turbo. Because it's super heavy, we've already installed this turbo. As you can see, it's an S475 T6 from Summit Racing. Take a look at this. T6, this is our adapter. T6 to 3-inch V-band. See, our Y pipe ends in a 3-inch V-band. Makes it nice. That way we can put on any turbo we want. All we do is make these adapters. I've got one for a T4 to a 3-inch V-band, T6 to a 3-inch V-bend. You could do a T3, although I don't know why you'd want to on a V8, but you could. We can run anything that we want using this adapter. Works really well. We hoisted this baby up. All we got to do, tighten this thing in place. It's all good. The nice thing about this is we can orient this turbo any way we want. We can rotate it, swivel it. Maybe we got to miss stuff with the exhaust. Maybe we got to spin it so that we can make our intercooler tubing work, which we'll see later. Check it out. With the turbo installed, we got to hook up the oil feed line to the top. Making sure the line is away from the heat. And then let's check out the bottom. We got a drain fitting under the turbo. Go get our hose up in there. Sorry about the movement. Get our clamp in place. See? And that drain line goes down to our oil pan. Got a drain fitting we put in the pan for just such an occasion. We've already installed the turbo. We've got a reducer on the back of it. Now we're going to put the exhaust on. Starting with our clamp. V-bend, custom. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, man. We'll install the oxygen sensor. This is going to measure the air-fill ratio, which is critical on a turbo motor. So we got a bung right here. Put this baby in. Squeaky, squeaky. A little snug. Hook it up. All right, good to go. Because we want to cool all that air that comes out of the turbo before it goes into the motor, we're going to install this. It's an air-to-water intercooler from aPprocharger. And in this instance, because we're not running real high boost, we're just going to run dyno water through it. But if you really want to make some power, try ice water. It works great at the track. So let's get this baby on. Okay. Sometimes hard handling this stuff. Nobody here. Cool, now we got to run our lines. Line. Snug these babies up. Got the big wrench. Okay, this is important. We're feeding the bottom and exiting out the top. That way we make sure that the water fills the cooler all the way up before it exits out. That way we maximize the surface area of the cooler. More charge cooling, lower temperatures, better for the motor. We've got our intercooler on, got the turbo on. Now we got to connect the pipe from the intercooler over to the throttle pipe. Here's a real technical procedure. 25 thousandths. If we were running a lot of boost, they might tighten it up a little more down to, I don't know, 19 or 20. But we're going to check these. That one's actually pretty good. Yeah, real scientific. Tap it on the ground. If you go too far, get a little screwdriver. Do a little something. There we go. like some of these have been given the massage already a little bit. We gave them all a couple of whacks before we put them in, but we didn't really measure it. Kind of want to get it close. All right, they're done. Let's put them back in. The nice thing about this is when we put it in, it will center the plug, and then we spin it easy so we don't strip it, and then at the end we can tighten it a little bit. So you see what I mean? So we get it going, only right at the end. I like to give them a little once over to make sure. Click, 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 click. They're not officially torqued unless you make the click-clack noise. Put our coils back on. What we like to do is put some race fuel in the tank for running a turbo or blower motor or nitrous motor. You always want to start out safe. So we'll put a little bit of race fuel. In this case, this is 100. We've got up to 118. But if we put 100 in it and start there, then when we do our tune, what we do is take all the timing out of it, add fuel, do some roll-ins, make sure that when it goes into boost, it's less than 12 to 1, you know, something around 11 and a half. Start slow, roll in, make sure the air fuel is right, and then we can start adding timing. All right, let's do a walkthrough. Everything's on. See, we got our exhaust. Got our headers. Feeding our custom tube. Joining up into this Y pipe. Same thing on the other side. Got a pair of Wastegates. Turbo Smart Gen 5s. We've got a Summit S475 Turbo. aPprocharger air-to-water intercooler. Blowing all that goodness into our test motor. 2006 5.7 Hemi. Comp cam and springs, that's it. We've converted our throttle body to a manual version. Now that everything's done, now it's got a lot of hoses and everything all over the place. Let's find out how she does. Okay, we take a look down here. We're getting the dyno ready. Well, first thing we're going to do is turn the water on, the water in, and the water out. Heat up our oxygen sensors. So go out, we got to hit the valve. Walk out through here. You can hear the noise. Pump cavitation. Our water temperature. Fill up the dyno tank. Gonna fill that up. The water line going into the pump. Gonna come out. We'll know when it's full. We got a little sight glass here. That fills up all the way. Okay, down here, We got a little valve. I'm going to open that up. You get water flow through the intercooler. Your line's going up through here, up into our air water core, out over here. We can check the flow rate. Okay, we've got a base tune loaded. It's not going to be perfect. This is just our first couple runs here. So we're going to find out where we're at. We're at like 6 or 7 pounds. We'll make a run, find out where we are, see where we need to adjust. So let's get it started, make a pass. Later on, we'll go out and do a video. Show the exhaust going red hot. It's awesome. I love about turbo stuff. So let's find out what we're gonna do here. Our turbo run. We're up in the 600 horsepower range where we have boost. Yep, 5.4 or 5.3 pounds. Not very much. We can turn that up, but it's a good start. Check this out. We just installed this TC1 controller to control our boost. Right now it's set for a maximum of 7 pounds above atmospheric. So we'll see how it does. We should go up and boost a little bit from the last run. Make a little more power. Okay, let's see what happens now that we've installed our boost controller. We've got the boost turned up a little bit. Let's see what she'll do. Definitely making more power. Boost is a wonderful thing. Cool thing, I don't even have to go in the room to change the boost. All we gotta do, press here. Select our parameter. Select our boost. And see, that's 7 pounds above atmospheric. We go up 1, let's go up 2 pounds. Boom, it's all done. All right, let's see what happens. Now we went up and boosted a little bit. Yep, more power, more boost, more power. Like that. Just what we like to see every time we raise the boost. More and more power from 5.5 pounds all the way up to 12 pounds. Page 784.5 at 12 pounds. Yeah, boost curves nice and flat from 5 pounds all the way up to 12 pounds. We're good.